Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Hazel Lucia Tarot. I am your tarot reader, Stephanie, and today's reading is your June 2026 predictions. We're going to see what the month of June has in store for you. We have 4 piles here for you today. Pile 1, we have the flower agate. Pile 2, we have the seafoam or pistachio calcite. I have a few names for it. Beautiful little seafoam green. We have the amethyst point. And pile 4, we have an agate shaped like a moon. So take a few deep breaths, think about your month of June, and I'll be ready for your reading whenever you are. Hello there, pile 1. If you chose the flower agate, then we have your reading here for you about your month of June. We're going to see what the month of June has in store for you. We're going to start with the oracles, which have been pre-selected, and then we're going to get into the tarot, where we're going to see your general love, relationship, and career and finance. So the card you got is Rot and Decay. Rot and Decay, 31. It festers when left in the shadows. Bring it to life by giving it away. Ooh, there's something that you have, whether it's literally or figuratively, that is rotting and cannot be brought back to life. So, and I think you will know what this is if it's not something literal. For some of you, you might want to go through your fridge or something. There might be something there that you might need to throw out. But regardless, there's something here about allowing things to just... It's kind of like not just releasing, but literally purging, pruning, decluttering. There's something that needs to be let go. If we're talking about the subconscious, this could be like some sort of idea that every time it comes through, it just feels like, I don't want to say irrelevant, because it is relevant in some way, but it's more like, it's like this doesn't feel right anymore. It feels dead in some way, you know, like it doesn't resonate at all. We have number 18, Azrael. Number 6, cloud scrying. Be still, for it's in the act of patience that guidance is met with clarity. And child, number 24, child. So this is a really interesting month, because I think a lot of you are releasing certain childhood habits, traumas, thought patterns. It's interesting that I said habits. For some of you, you could have a particular habit that you've had since childhood. And it doesn't even have to be a bad one. It could just be any sort of habit where you kind of question why you do things the way that you do them. For example, let's say you eat a particular way, or you may think a particular way, or maybe you value certain things that you did when you were a kid. And even now in your adult life, you're kind of like, this doesn't really resonate with me anymore. And it's gotten to the point where you can't really ignore it, or it's gotten to the point where it's affecting your life in a way that is I don't want to say that it's getting in the way of your blessings or destiny or anything like that, but it just doesn't seem like it's necessary. You know, whatever it is. Sometimes this can come through, like, for example, and this is just an example, I'm not saying this is what you have to do. Like, sometimes our diets can be affected. You know, as we get older, our dietary needs change. Like, sometimes we can tolerate certain foods more than others, and sometimes we just need to eat healthier. But let's say that you've always drank milk as a kid, but as you get older, you've noticed that like it just doesn't sit well with you. It's kind of like that. And if it's not with food, it could be like any other sort of habit that you have, whether it's, I don't know, it could really be anything. In some cases, it could be cultural, and in some cases, it could just be something that you've done since childhood. Or for some of you, if you're parents and have children, you could notice that some of the habits that you had as a kid don't really make sense to your child now. And that maybe that's making you reassess how you grew up. For example, let's say when you were a kid, you ate a lot of candy, but you don't really give your kids sugar. And you're like, you know what? I don't even know how I could eat that much sugar when I was a kid, when I give one piece of candy to my kid and they're all over the place, you know? And it's making you wonder, you know, how you grew up and why you grew up the way you did. I'm getting that very strongly. I am going to read from the book for Azrael, though. Yeah, something about the inner child is coming through as well. We'll get more into that, but I feel like it's going to be very apparent this particular month. So for Azrael, transitions. You are at a major point of transition. Release all that is currently falling away with love. Remember that after a death, there always comes a rebirth. If you have pulled this card following the loss of a loved one, this message comes as validation that the angels are guiding their way safely through the veil. Yeah, and that makes sense, because it's kind of like you're in a transition phase right now, and we're always going through transition phases, whether we're aware of them or not, whether we're conscious of what we're transitioning through, or if it's something that maybe when we look back, we're going to be like, oh yeah, I was in a definite transition in my life at that point. And this one is coming through in like seeing the what's the phrase for it? Like you're seeing the patterns, you're recognizing where certain things have been affecting you when you didn't really notice them before, which is really interesting for a lot of you. Because I'm not really even seeing this as like a big major thing. It just feels like you go from one thing and then you decide to take a different turn and you let go of a habit, or you maybe take up a habit, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's all about clarity as well. Because cloud scrying, that's when you sit or lay on your back and you look at the clouds and how you see the images in the clouds. I'm being shown that scene from Up where, I forgot their names, but the sweet old couple, they're looking up at the sky and he sees, he thinks he sees a baby up in the clouds. And then she's like, oh yeah, I see a bunch of babies actually. And, and it's like, you could be getting signs from the universe this month that are just very apparent. And I know that's partially, what's it called? When you think of something, you kind of manifest the signs. But for some of you, I don't feel like you are. You're just seeing something very, very apparently in your face, because I think it's been time that you paid attention to it. And this could be brought to you again. If you have kids, maybe kids will be bringing this attention to you, or even like the kids in your life, if you have any nieces, nephews, etc. Teachers out there, I'm sure you get messages through your students a lot. Actually, no, it's June. Where I live, June is usually a no school month. So take that as it resonates. Maybe the absence of children is giving you some sort of sign as well. But let me get a few more cards before we move on to the tarot. For my pile 1. Numbers coming through are 18, 24, 6, and 31. Those could be important dates this month, except the 31st. I don't think there's 31 days in June. We have number 43, Jackrabbit, tracking a clever critter's shadow. Oh, that's so sweet. I actually saw a rabbit yesterday. And it's odd because I didn't think there were rabbits where I lived. Like, I'm closer to the city now, but there was this little bunny in this little area where there's trees and stuff. And it surprised me. Again, signs. Because to me, rabbits do signify something very important. And it was right in front of my car too. Like, I couldn't ignore it. I was about to get out and then boom, I see him just hopping along. And I got excited. We have Trawler, divulging a tenacious regret. Ooh, number 77. We have Hunting Dogs, matching a close companion's love. And Minnow, being a clever critter's vulnerability. Okay, so there's 2 clever critter ones, which are right here. We have close companion and divulging a tenacious regret. Okay, so there is something here about the regret comes through in several ways, because I don't know how recent or how far away this is. But we could either be talking about the past, like distant past, or not too distant past, like a recent past. But there's something here about acknowledging, like, it's basically like our triggers or why we are the way we are. And sometimes we don't really notice or recognize this until we look back at our childhood and realize that sometimes the way we act are because of the way we grew up or because of how we were as children. And I don't know why this is coming through, but the last time I had this kind of conversation with at the time they were a close friend, the last time I had this conversation with them, they said, I think you're reading into things too much. And maybe that's true. But it's kind of like, why do we reflect on our past so much? Why do we do the things we do now? And how much are they impacted by our past? And how much are we just kind of latching on to certain habits or triggers, etc.? Because yes, we do grow. I do feel like we grow a lot as humans, like certain ideals and certain habits, ideologies, mentalities, etc. do fall away. But here it's like a vulnerability and a shadow and a clever critter. I don't know who the clever critter is here. It could be you. It could be somebody else. And again, if you have children, it could be them. If you're trying to figure out your child's, like for example, if you have a child who has issues with something, this would be a great month to do so, because I feel like your combination of curiosity and need to nurture, Gemini and Cancer combined together here, are going to be really, really helpful in not only giving you, again, the stamina to be able to handle that, but also the curiosity. It's like a combination of an open mind and an open heart to go along with this. And with close companions, love, for whatever reason, I mean, if you have dogs, this could be important as well. Maybe for some of you, a dog is important this month. But think of like a hunting dog or any kind of like dog in general, specifically service dogs, because I don't really see this so much with like a more lap dog, but think of like the dogs that you take outside to go running with, or service dogs that, you know, work with you to figure something out. I feel like either this could be your spirit guides, or this could even be the person that you are trying to figure out. Like, you figure out why certain things are the way they are this month. Very big on the psychology for sure, either of yourself or the others around you or everybody involved. But it's a very deep month for you for sure. Very psychological, very introspective as well. It wouldn't surprise me if Pluto and Gemini trine, which I think is technically going to be toward the end of May, but you could still feel it in certain times of June, I guess. I feel like that's going to be very impactful this month for a lot of you. Regardless, actually, Venus and Leo. Regardless, I feel like it's going to be a very, very introspective and psychological month for you, pile 1. So let's get into your tarot. With that said, let's get into your tarot, because I'm really excited to see. So in general, what's going on with you? Pile 1. All right, we have the 5 of Wands reversed. We have the Queen of Wands reversed. I feel like you don't want to fight, or you don't want to argue anymore. It's like there's this want, or, well, no, what do I call it? It's like, I don't want to argue, I don't want to fight. That's what I'm hearing. Or you could be trying to approach something in a much more soft way, especially if you're somebody who either you have like a lot of fire in your chart, or you just typically handle things in a very hands-on, blunt, in your face kind of manner. I feel like you don't want to do that anymore, or you're just not really having the strength to put up with something that way. So you're going about things in a very different manner. Because the Wands reversed is like muting that fiery energy that you typically have, or even intense energy. We have Page of Swords. Page of Swords reversed. I feel like whatever's going on this month, a lot of you are in very passive energy. It's like you don't want to fight, you don't want to talk. You're just really allowing life to play out the way it needs to play out. You're more observant, and this is giving strong 12th house energy. For some of you, you could have Sun transiting through your 12th house. Very passive energy. You just want to see how things play out. You want to see how things are going. You're not really wanting to say or do much this month. That's not to say that you're not going to do anything. It's more like you're going about life in a way that's just kind of, it just feels passive. We have the Devil. Interesting. There are feelings of either shame or regret. And I'm giving you a big hug, pile 1. And King of Pentacles reversed. For a lot of you, there's this feeling of like what you have created, what you have done, and you don't know whether it amounts to anything or not. Another way of seeing this would be like you're wondering if what you have created in life is of worth yet. For a lot of you, I'm getting like this energy of being either very young and not having accomplished much in life yet, or even regardless of your age. I feel like there's this feeling that you're looking back at your life and wondering how you could have done things differently, how you could have how things could have turned out differently. And I'm being told to give this advice that it's better to look forward to the future, because if you keep looking back at the past, then how can you look at what's in front of you? How can you walk forward if you're looking behind you? It's that from the Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa, who is it? You got to put your behind in your past. You got to leave the past behind you. That's what I'm getting for a lot of you. So I would advise you not to feel so... Know that this is just a passing phase. I feel like you're meant to sit with these feelings for some time so that you can look back, but you're not meant to be either sad about it or in regret about it. I'm hearing Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. You know, I feel like there's something from the past that could be coming back to bother you. It's not even to haunt you but it's just bothering you. And the reason why, I think, is just for you to contemplate on how far you've come. When people become successful or when they're about to step into a really good era of their life, sometimes the past comes and creeps up to show them all that they've done. But when all that you've done is something that maybe you find really hard to be proud of, it can kind of bring you down. So do be careful this month, pile 1, because I feel like if you don't focus on the good, you could be prone to or fooled into focusing on the bad things. You've done so much, and just because it's not as much as what everybody else has done, or even if it's different from what everybody else has done, it doesn't mean that it's bad what you've done in the past. And back of the deck, the 6 of Wands. Yeah, focus on the success that is ahead of you, because you do have a lot of beautiful things coming forward. Not only that, but I promise you there's also great things that you've done in the past, but for whatever reason, I feel like the negativity is getting to you this month for sure. It's mostly feelings of regret and shame and guilt here with the Devil that are coming through. Why particularly I'm associating those right here, I'm not sure. I guess the Page of Swords makes me think of, like, you know, when you make art or when you write or any sort of artistic ability, when you first begin to do it, it's not going to be like the most perfect, best piece of art ever. It's like you're looking back at your very beginnings and you're like, oh my gosh, I was awful. But the truth is that that's not fair to compare yourself from when you were younger, from when you knew less, from when you were a beginner at something, and compare that to now when you're so much better at something. And even to compare that to the future, you don't know how good you're going to get at something. So for those of you who have been worrying whether the best of you is behind you, it's not at all. Like, for example, if we were to take this in a romantic sense, you look back and think, was that the best person that I could have ever dated? And it's like, no, because if they were, they'd be in your life right now. So clearly that's not the case, pile 1. I say that because I sometimes think that way. It's like, did I just did the best relationship I'm ever going to have pass me by? You know, things like that. Speaking of which, let's get into love and relationships for pile 1. We have the 5 of Wands upright. Okay, so for those of you who like to have a lot of witty banter in your flirtations, it's going to be a great month. 4 of Cups. What is up with nostalgia this month for pile 1? It's like Cancer season came early for a lot of you. 8 of Swords reversed. Oh, okay. Page of Pentacles, Queen of Wands. This is coming through back of the deck. Queen of Cups. Oh, okay. 2 ways I could take this. For a lot of you, you could be thinking about the past and wondering if you should reach out to somebody. You can. However, I'm just going to leave it there. I think I'm just going to leave it there. You can, if you want to. Another way of seeing this, it could be somebody else wanting to reach out to you, because the 5 of Wands gives me like party energy, and it's not always party energy, by the way. Like I don't typically read that card that way, because 5 of Wands is like friction, action. It can be seen as the quote, quote, fighting card. But when it comes up in a reading about romance, it's usually like witty banter, or like, you know, or like enemies to lovers kind of energy, like the sensual tension, if you will. So, I do get that for a lot of you, there could be somebody that you've already had sensual tension with. I don't know if it's an ex. It could be someone that you've never really had anything with, but every time you two get around, it's kind of like, will they, won't they? Or if this is somebody you are currently talking to, like for example, if you're already in a relationship and you and your partner do this a lot, it's like when you fight and then make up in a very sexy way. Regardless, I'm getting that somebody is kind of in their feelings about you and they're ready to open up about it. But let me tell you, it's going to be difficult for them because we do have the Page of Pentacles here. Not only that, but you will have to be patient with them. So if you want to hear them out, you can. Because, well, one, they're still very attracted to you. And for some of you, just because she came out at the bottom of the deck, low-key, they do have feelings for you, or they do miss you, or they do miss your nurturing energy. And take that as it resonates. For those of you who don't want anything to do with this, you can, of course, say no. You always have free will. But there is something undeniable about the fact that they're still very attracted to you. This would be like, let's say you're out and about somewhere, specifically somewhere social, and you run into your ex again. And it's like, maybe in the past they would have avoided you or didn't want anything to do with you. And now it's like they muster up the courage to talk to you again. But it may be like small talk. Or maybe like, oh, hey, so how you been? You know, just keeping it surface level. And again, it's up to you how you want to treat that. So you could be, you know, civil in return. You could decide to talk to them as well. I guess it's up to how you decide to handle these kinds of things or who this person is. And for others of you, you might just decide that it's not worth investing in because the Page of Pentacles is just a page. It's not a knight. It's not a queen. It's not a king. This is like the beginner level of something. But this does feel like someone from the past because of the Four of Cups and even the Eight of Swords reversed. If it was upright, this would be somebody who like is really trying to avoid you. They would be in the same room with you and pretend that you don't exist. But for a lot of you, I do feel like this person is trying to open back up to you, whether to just be friends or to just maybe even start things again. It's up to you and this person. I'm not really seeing anything past that. This could also be a friend. I do see for a lot of you that this could definitely be a friend who maybe you had a falling out with and they want to be friends again. But it's going to take time to get back to where you were, if it ever gets back to that point. So for a lot of you, this does come through as more romantic though. But it's up to you where this goes. And I guess you should also take your time. Pentacles energy is allowing things to play out in the way that they need to play out. Should they play out that way? So yeah, interesting. With that said, by the way, if this is romantic, this is definitely someone who you have a lot of sensual chemistry with. Could have been a hookup, could have been something casual, friends with benefits, etc. But that's coming through strongly. In fact, it could be a major factor as to why you're both even wanting to speak to each other again. So do be wary of that. With that said, career and finance for pile 1, please. We have the, is this the Tower? Or is this Death? This is Death reversed. Death reversed. Something that you thought had been phased out is returning. And sometimes companies do this. Like you thought you were going to get rid of something, but then it turns out that they're bringing it back. For example, like if it's a company that invested too much in the AI, they may decide that it's time to get rid of some of AI. For those of you seeking a job, this means that you could either get an offer from a job that you used to have, like maybe someone decides that they want to hire you back, or you could find a job that you thought maybe, like maybe you thought nobody would answer your application. We have the Queen of Swords reversed. Oh, this is interesting. It's yes, but it's reversed. So it's like yes and no. So something complicated is happening in the workspace. For those of you looking for a job, for sure. You also have the Hanged Man. There's a lot. Okay, someone is really going back on what they said in the workplace. And if you're looking for a job, this could be a positive thing. If you're already in a job secured, I feel like someone is taking back what they said or an offer that they did, or maybe they, if they chose someone over you, they could be deciding to come crawling back to you. Regardless, decisions are being overturned, like literally 180s. Yeah, we have Riot, King of Swords upright because somebody above them decided otherwise. I don't know if there's tension between two bosses where you work, pile one, but if so, definitely know that whoever is above the other person is doing it either because I don't know why they're doing it. It could be several reasons, but somebody here overturned somebody else's decision because of the hierarchy. So this could be a good thing. This would be like if your direct boss decided they didn't want you on a project, but the boss above them was like, no, actually, I do want pile one on that project. It could cause a little drama, I'll be honest. But definitely the workspace is really interesting for you. And then we have the Page of Swords. Okay, lots of conversation is being had in the workplace about decisions that need to be made and don't need to be made. You could be feeling the after effects of this, because if the workplace feels like it's a little off, or if everybody has like a different opinion and a different direction to go in, yeah, that's what's going on in those meetings that you're probably not a part of. Things are being split in several ways, but understand that whoever your closest boss is, their decisions are being overturned by somebody else above them or around them. So that's going to be really interesting. And then we have, what is this? Patron Phantasma. You know what? I'm being told to take that very literally. I'm thinking of patron, like literally the patronage of somebody. Ghost patronage. Like, now I'm hearing phantom limb. Like, you're being affected by things that you're not aware of, or people that you may never even see. So let's say you never work directly with like your general manager, like whoever the CEO or whoever, like the big bosses. You may never work directly with them. However, they're deciding that you need to be put in different positions than what you were originally intended for. This could go good or bad, I guess, depending on the situation. But understand that the workplace is really shifting around a lot, because certain decisions and certain things that were implemented are literally being turned on their heads. It's like a complete 180, or a returning of something that you thought was going to be phased out. Or maybe you thought you were going to head in a certain direction and you end up heading in a completely different direction. So yeah, a little bit of whiplash in the workplace for sure this month. For you, pile one, I'll just say you're having quite an interesting month. But I feel like you're focusing more on like your own psychological stuff going on. Luckily, you'll be distracted by the outside things. So with that said, let's get your final card. And I'm also wanting to do runes for this month, actually. Let's get your cards first. Pile one for June. Oh, you did get two. Okay. We have the words you speak become the house you live in. And not just the words you speak out loud, but also the words you speak in your head. Keep mind of your internal dialogue, because I feel like for a lot of you, you're not realizing that the way you think is definitely shaping the world around you. And I say this as somebody who's had to really, really struggle with this. Like, I used to be a very negative thinker. I used to be very pessimistic. And I even catch myself in that kind of mentality every now and then, but I have to shift it. It has to be shifted, because how can the world around you be better when your internal world always feels like it's falling apart? So make it a point to think about positive things. Make it a point to focus on the happy things that make you feel good, the things that are interesting. We also have become more aware of what is worth your energy. Exactly, because all the positive things are worth your energy. All right, the last thing is going to be runes. I'm just going to get however many this is. 3? Okay. Thurisas, Thorn. We have this is Sowilo. And Manas. I'm being told that the way you see other people can sometimes be a reflection of what you see within yourself. And I know that can be alarming, especially if you're a lot like me and think that most people are just kind of garbage. Well, not most, but a lot. And part of the reason is because I think we are so... You could be someone that likes to self-criticize a lot. And because of that, you criticize other people as well. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe you see the best in others, but you still criticize yourself the most because you've always been told that you have to put other people above you. But regardless, there's this feeling here that for a lot of you, you have to start treating yourself like you're your own best friend. Speak to yourself the way you would a little baby child. Speak to yourself the way you would your most favorite pet. You know, if you were just a little kitten or a little a sweet puppy. Like, you have to start babying yourself internally, because I feel like when you nurture the best parts of you flourish even more. I've gotten into like having more plants in my house. So I'm thinking of like doing the best for them so they can flourish. And what do? You nurture it. You put it in front of a window with beautiful lighting. You feed it. You give it water. You give it nice fresh air, because plants do need air. And you say beautiful things to them, tell them how proud you are of like the new growth that they have. I feel like it would really benefit you to either look in the mirror or even just write it out, just how amazing and wonderful you are. Even right now, pile 1, I feel like just say 3 wonderful things about you, because that's going to allow you to grow in a way that is much more positive and heading in the right direction. But this is where I leave it, pile 1. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 2. If you chose the seafoam calcite or the pistachio calcite, then we have a reading here for you for the month of June. We're going to see what the month of June has in store for you. Then we're going to get into the tarot to see specifically what your general love, relationship, and career finances are going to be like. So we're going to start with the pre-selected oracles plus some live shuffled oracles. So you got butterflies, number 2. Here in the unknown, you will find the essence of who you really are and what magic awaits. Ooh, I love the butterfly energy so far, because I do get that a lot of you have gone through a transformation. It's not that you're going through one this month. Take that stuff falling off my desk as confirmation. But you're already coming out of your metamorphosis. You're in the final stage, or you're finally stepping into the energy that you've been transforming into. Some of you could have already gone through this, and this is just a continuation of that this month. Let's get the rest of your cards. We have Green Witch, number 12. No one decision is insignificant. The act of intentionality calls to you. I have stuff to say about this one, but let me get the rest of them. We have Herb Crafting, number 17. Allow your roots to dive into the depths. Your spirit calls for grounding. We also have Shekinah, number 39. And Home. So there's several things going on here. One, let's talk about your metamorphosis that you've come out of. For a lot of you, this has to do with not just grounding or going deep beneath the surface of your beliefs or of whatever has been going on with you. If you came from pile 1, I feel like this is like just a continuation of this. And 2, this decision card. No one decision is insignificant, including that of not making a decision. It's ironic that indecision is a decision in and of itself, because when you decide not to do something, that's still a decision. And I like to say this a lot to people who are indecisive, because for whatever reason, my life has been full of indecisive people. And the indecision has just never been my thing. Like, I make up my mind about something or not, regardless of whether it's the right or wrong choice. Because it's like, if you stick with something, at least you know where you're going. However, for a lot of you, I feel like regardless, you could either be that way, or you could be the more indecisive type where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what, but when you're stalling to make a decision, you're deciding to stall. Like, instead of going with something, you're also deciding to take everything into account. And that could be seen as like a pre-decision for some of you, but it's still a decision. I don't know why I'm going on a little rant about that, but that's coming through for some of you. So maybe you're aware of this. Maybe you're aware that when you take your time for something, or when you decide to remain quote, quote, neutral, or when you don't want to make a decision, you realize that itself is also contributing to the fact that you're making decisions at every moment of every day of every time, which, when you really think about it, can come off as a little bit overstimulating or hectic. But that's just how life is. It's like this constant ongoing of little things here and there. Like, every little thing you do is kind of contributing to something. With Herb Crafting, Green Witch, and Home, for some of you, you could be spending more time in the household, in your home, wherever you may live. You could literally be doing some sort of herb crafting, whether that's putting together some sort of little herbs to bring like a nice smelling scent, or to decorate, or spell work if that's what you put your intentions into. I feel like you could do all of the above as well. It could be time to I'm hearing change the energy in your home. So take that as it resonates. I'm thinking of like spring cleaning, but maybe a little bit later, because June is usually the beginning of summer. So maybe summer cleaning. For a lot of you, it would help if you definitely air out the space in your home, whether that's through cracking a window or just letting more sunlight in. There's something about the energy in your space that has been kind of begging you to release it. Not the energy within yourself, but the energy in your surroundings. So whether it's your home, your room, or if you're moving into a place, it definitely needs a little bit more energetic attention. So yeah, saging, smudging, Palo Santo, whatever your favorite little thing to do is. If you can't burn anything because you live in that kind of dwelling, then you can always spray stuff. And like I said, air and fire are the best elements for that. Again, I don't know why I'm going on a little tangent about that. I am going to read from the book for Shekinah here. Shekinah, that sounds like Shakira. Let's see, for or is it Shekinah? Divine Mother, and I'm just going to go straight to the message. Awaken, my daughters, now you are free. Awaken, my daughters, now you can speak. Now you shall see, now you can be. As mighty, as powerful, as magnificent as me, the Shekinah lives within you. So there's something about awakening to the freedom of being able to be or do something that you haven't been able to before. And I don't know why that comes through in June. For a lot of you, that will be dependent on what's going on with you personally. But it's kind of like, for example, like if you finally have your own space to live in, then this means that you can adjust it to whatever you need it to be. And for others of you, it's realizing that you have more control over the spaces that you're in than you realize. This makes me think of several things. Like when I moved out of my family's home into my own space and I finally had the ability to do whatever I wanted in that space, it was so freeing. So of course I would sage like every week, and I would put up my little decorations, my little woodland creatures decorations, and it would just be to my taste. And I would have like just the one TV. I'm not a TV person. I used to be when I was younger because I was kind of brought up that way. But when I became an adult, I watched less and less TV the older I got. And now I have like no TVs in my house. I do have one, but it's not even plugged in. Like it's just sitting there. So, things like that. Whatever your little specific thing about your space that you like, you can finally do it. Or like, for example, when people break up and a partner moves out and you stay, or you move into your own place, you can finally have everything the way you've always wanted and you don't have to accommodate for anybody. Some of you could decide to live on your own if that's possible, or you just have, again, more control over your situation. Regardless of what it is, some of you could also be breaking free of certain... I hesitate to say cultural because I don't know if it is cultural, but like whatever your family brought you up doing, you could break free away from that, and it can be very liberating. I saw this with, I had a particular partner that whenever he moved away from his family home, because he didn't live with his mom, he lived with his aunt and uncle. But the way that family, like they're... And nothing against this sort of diet, of course, but they would be very carb heavy. Not only that, but they would make like really big plates, and his aunt would always like overload his plate. And I would always think that's a lot of food. And of course he would eat it because he wasn't rude. But once we moved out and like we had our own kitchen and our own space, like we would cook meals that were healthier because I'm not as big on carbs as they were. We'd have more greens and more protein. And two, I myself made smaller plates because I'm just a smaller person. So even when I made his plate, it wouldn't be as big as what he was used to. So he would just lose weight because of not having to be in a household where he felt obliged to eat a massive, think like American-sized portions, because that's where I live. It's actually a norm in a lot of places here. Not to me, because I'm petite, I'm tiny. I couldn't finish that much unless I'm really, really hungry. So naturally he would just lose weight. Like, and that's, I'm getting a similar thing for you. Like wherever you are, you're being affected by your environment, or you were being affected by your environment. And once you're out of that environment, you're surprised at just how different you move, feel, act even. When another example, like when I was in college, I would have massive, and I mean massive anxiety. And it's no surprise because even when I go back to that space sometimes, because I don't live far from it, I will get that. Like the people in that environment are riddled with anxiety. And I don't know if it's like the age, like the early 20s, or if it's just the area, but it's like, it's a very situationship kind of area. It's very seedy, but it doesn't look like it on the surface. But the anxiety and like even just thinking about the people who still frequent that area makes me wonder why they don't move out, because it's not great, you know. And once I stopped going there, like the anxiety fell away, or at least the majority of it did. So, Pile 2, what's happening for you in June, other than shifting out of an environment that is not good for you? For some of you, this could be work, of course. You know, the workspace, career space can be a perfect place for you to not feel at all like yourself if it's not your life calling, or if it's something that you don't really feel that is very you. But because home came up, I feel like for a lot of you, it's more your dwelling space. We have Bay, grieving and authentic heritage. I did hesitate to say culture, because for a lot of you, this could be more cultural, and you may feel like you lose a part of your identity with that. But I feel like it's more like you're embracing more positive aspects of it, or you could even be healing the ancestral line if it's something more to do with family and what your family has always done. I mean, imagine if we had never broken the whole notion that, you know, children or women were to be seen and not heard in family dynamics. Like, imagine, I wouldn't be here right now. It could be as simple as that. We have Game Hunter, enduring a tenacious objective. Interesting. Blue Whale, fathoming a powerful animal's meaning. Ooh. So you know how blue whales, they're massive, and I mean huge creatures. If you've ever seen like a real life depiction of one, like at a museum or something, or even like at the aquarium, at an aquarium where they have like the big old wall and it's like, this is how big it is. And you stand next to it and you're like, dang, there's a creature that big just roaming around on this planet and we're not even aware of it. It's kind of weird to think, and it's unseen, like it's out of sight, out of mind, right? Like unless, even if you were to be on a boat above a blue whale, which I'm sure if you go on enough boats, it's to happen, you sit there and think like, you didn't even feel it. You didn't even think about it. It feels like this, like whatever this is, it's so massive that unless you were to just really zoom the fuck out and just realize how massive the impact of whatever you've left behind has had on you, you're not even really aware of it. And now you're in the process of undoing that. And I'm really curious as to what it is that you are unpacking this month, Pile 2. Feel free to share if you're comfortable with that, but it's going to change your life for the better. And Meadow, asserting an authentic self. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to keep these in order because I feel like that would make more sense. So, grieving an authentic heritage, leaving behind something that you've held, it's been ingrained in yourself for a long time. And then you held on to it because you thought it was important. But then it's like, enduring the tenacious objective. It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I holding on to this? And why do I do this? You know, whatever it is. Yeah, for some of you could be coming from Pile 1. And for a lot of you, this could be more collectively. Like, I think we're just reassessing the things that we do and the things that we believe, because it's time to release some of those notions. And of course, we're talking about something unhealthy, because if it was something healthy, I don't think we'd be making such a big deal about it. Or even if it is healthy, it could just be something that no longer resonates and you just kind of have to release it. But if it was healthy, you wouldn't feel so strongly about it. But whatever this is, it's making a bigger impact than you realize, like a much bigger impact. And with that, like once you release that, you step into being a more authentic version of yourself, a more realistic version of yourself. There is a lot of purple and blue. This could have something to do with the third eye or the throat chakra, which is our ability to express ourselves in an authentic manner. So let's say, and I say this because I see this a lot, like there's people who are brought up to just lie about certain things. And sometimes, yes, I do think we have to distort or hide the truth for our own safety and well-being. But I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the kind that's meant to be protective. I'm talking about the kind that is unnecessary, because I see this a lot with, I don't know if it's like the younger generation or if it's just the people where I live, where they will literally say anything to say anything, just kind of like because they're bored, or I don't know, or because they feel like no one's owed the truth. And me being very intuitive, there are times when I don't mind it. I'm like, I know they're BSing me. And then there are times I'm like, why do you have to be this way? Like, why? Why are you like this? And maybe some of you are releasing that. For others of you, it could be maybe the way that you handle money. Like there's people I've known who just squander it away because, quote, quote, you can't take it with you. But at the same time, if you're meant to save, what's the expression? Save for a rainy day. Or, you know, save for things in the future. There's also something akin to that. Whatever it is, there's several habits here that a lot of you, my head hurt as soon as I said that. Maybe for some of you that's ringing true. But there's a lot going on in terms of like reflecting on ourselves this month and like why we do the things we do. So the difference here is that you're dealing more with the home space. So if you've inherited anything recently, whether it's an item, whether it's a home, whether it's the ability to be able to live somewhere, that's going to come through very importantly. Also, there's butterflies in almost all of these cards. This one doesn't, but she looks like a butterfly because she's technically, well, I don't know if that would be considered butterfly pose. I think it's more cobbler's pose, but very similar where the feet are together and the legs are up, you know, they're like in a wingspan kind of position. And then with Shekinah here, she's got, okay, I thought that was butterflies, but there's flowers and there's the world. And it's almost like she's holding it in this way where she's like healing it. So I do feel a lot of you, you're healing your own world. You're healing your own life in a beautiful manner. So if this sounds like something you want to keep hearing about, let's move on to the tarot portion. Very interesting. I'm curious as to what's happening in June, because if these two piles are going very deeply about the self, it's got to be something massive. I think Chiron or Chiron, however you pronounce it, is going into Taurus. So if you have a lot of strong Taurus placements, that could be affecting you. But even if you're like a Gemini, this would be Chiron in the 12th house. So that's massive subconscious healing. Healing of that which you can't see. So pile 2. We have the 5 of Swords. When the battle's lost and won. What I'm getting out of this is that wherever you lose, you also gain. And wherever you gain, you also lose. It's definitely a card of balance coming through here, which I don't always see this way. Oh, okay. Not all the kings falling out. Take that as symbolically as you want to. We have the 6 of Wands reversed. There's like either a quiet or there's a battle that is won here. Internal battle, maybe outside battle, but it doesn't feel like it's been won. Does that make sense? Or maybe you have a hard time basking in the victory of something or in the celebration of something because there's other things going around you. The example I'm being shown, this is so weird, but this is how extreme it's going to feel. Like it's when you win the lottery, but you can't tell anybody. Or like you aced the test, but all your friends failed, so you don't feel like telling them that you're the only person who aced the test. For a lot of you, I feel like part of this habit could be where you make yourself small because you don't want to offend anybody else. That could be a habit you're releasing. We have Ace of Cups because you're afraid of how people will perceive you, or you're afraid of like people not liking you. It's weird because I'm getting a sense of shame or a sense of like not wanting to tell anybody. There's a very overprotective energy here, and I kind of understand and don't understand this at the same time. You could be keeping something secret, or maybe you have been keeping something secret because you're afraid of either the backlash of what people will say or what's going to go on in your life if you do. You have the 10 of Cups. And I like this. It says, earthly things made even. and Ten of Swords. Again, we have the Ten of Cups, which is one of the happiest outcome cards in the Minor Arcana. And then we have the Ten of Swords, which is the reversed. A lot of you, and this breaks my heart, and I'm not sure why this is, but a lot of you are dealing with some sort of success or some sort of joy, something that is good. But for whatever reason, you can't celebrate it, you can't fully accept it, you can't verbalize it, express it because of the people or things around you. And this kind of breaks my heart. And I don't know if it's because you know that they're not going to take it well, or because you know it's not the right time, or because it could just be the environment you are in. It's like, how can I feel safe and comfortable in my own success? How can I feel safe and comfortable in expressing the joy that is within me if everybody around me doesn't accept it or doesn't like it, or is, look at this scene. This is not just the Ten of Swords. This is the scene from Julius Caesar, both history and the Shakespearean play. This is a Shakespeare tarot deck. But if you know about Caesar's demise, the Ides of March, which March 15th could be important here, that's when all the, were they senators? I don't know. They were some sort of people. They all came around and basically stabbed his back, literally. And that's how they ended Caesar. And it feels like you want to be happy, but how can you be happy when you know that people would probably tear you down for it? And this could be several things. This could be like sharing something on social media. Maybe you don't want to because you're afraid of the backlash it will happen. I'm pretty sure people who are like famous to some degree are like this, where they don't even want to share the fact that they may have a partner, or that they just bought a new home, or that they have they're afraid of the backlash. But even if you're not famous, this could, again, be your friends. Like maybe you get, for some of you, I'm not judging here, of course. This could be like you get back together with an ex and things are finally better because you're both in a better space. But maybe you know that like nobody's going to accept that. No one's going to like that because of what they did or how it ended, The one friend who had to hear you every night cry about someone is not going to be happy when you get back with that someone. Or so you feel. Like you will. Another way of seeing this would be like, let's say you got a job, but maybe this job is something that all your friends don't like, and you're like, well, at least I have a salary now and I can be happy with it, Things like that. I feel like there's give and takes here. There's something about equilibrium, which I don't know. I don't know how I could tell you to navigate this. Back of the deck is the King of Swords, King of Cups. So for some of you, you do feel like look at all these kings. King of Cups. King of Coins, King of Swords. Only the King of Cups is upright. The King of Swords and the King of Pentacles are reversed. So a lot of you feel like you made a decision that was based off of greed, or maybe it wasn't very logical, but you had to pay bills or you had to do something to stabilize your situation. But the only thing I'm really getting is that the people who truly love you and support you and want the best for you will be happy for you regardless of what happens. So if you're going through this and somebody is unhappy, or somebody feels like, I don't know, it's like jealousy. You're weeding out the people who have never really been your friends, essentially. And maybe you're even aware of that and you kind of just want to keep the peace because maybe your friendship circle means everything to you, or the people around you mean a lot to you. So yeah, not gonna lie, heavy energy this June. If you just know that this is no way going to be you, pile 2, I would recommend that you go to another pile. But for some of you, this could be warning you ahead of time of what's going on. All right, so that said, let's get into relationships. Let's get into not just romantic, but also friendships. Relationships in June for my pile 2. Page of Wands. 3 of Swords. What's going on with your friends, pile 2? There's definitely something going on in your social circle. 4 of Wands. I'm getting a sense of either immaturity or people who are like disappointing you because they could either you finally see a side of them that you had never seen before, or you're just recognizing that they're refusing to grow up or refusing to. It's weird because I feel like you've it's like you recognize that they've been immature or have had views that are, how do I put this? Like views that are just either not in alignment with your own, or very shallow views or surface level views. It's like their mentality on certain things never evolved past a certain age or a certain mindset. And I think you've made excuses for that for a long time, but it comes to the point where like you can no longer ignore it, or it's even affecting you, the friendship, or the things around you. Because the Four of Wands is like ignoring a harsh reality or ignoring the consequences of actions. You have the Empress. And we have the Moon reversed. For some of you, this is very specific, so only take this if it resonates and if you know it applies to you. Let's say you're somebody who didn't realize that your friends had very quote, quote, particular, well, let's say they had very anti-feminist views, or maybe they had like certain views towards women that were not the best, regardless of their gender and regardless of whatever they identified as. It's like you're finally acknowledging it, or you're finally noticing it, or you're finally not able to ignore it. Whether this is like a friend, a family member, somebody close to you, and you kind of point that out. So let's say you have like maybe, like if you're, I'm trying to provide examples, but all I'm seeing is that I mean, that was an example, but another way of viewing this, it's like somebody here just has there's very stubborn views. And it's kind of heartbreaking because I do feel like either you've tried to convince them otherwise, or you've tried to make them see why the way they think is not okay. But it's almost like they either live in another reality, or even if they are aware of that reality that you pointed out, they do nothing about it, or they just refuse to. There's a stubbornness here. The Empress is coming through in several ways. Either this person could be an Empress themselves, like they're a little bit of a diva, or they just have like a lot of enablers around them for sure. Even if this person is a man's man, a straight man, whatever, like they could have diva behavior where like everybody else enables some sort of weird mentality or some sort of a bad habit around them. So they don't have a need to change. It's like if everything around them is affirming that their behavior is okay, even if that behavior is not actually okay, they're not going to change it. I see this with like people who have had parents or friends or whatever, a whole following that enables certain behavior. I'm getting that very strongly. And why this is coming through for June, I'm not sure. Another way of seeing this is that certain ideas about women from people are coming to the light. And again, this is regardless. Sometimes we see this, like, for example, in our own mothers, grandmothers, and how they view femininity or how women are supposed to behave, and etc. You know, things like that. So it could be family, it could be friends. I think it would surprise you more to see that this is within friends, though, because I'm seeing more people of your age. Or maybe even younger. Maybe if you're trying to educate like the younger people in your life. I'm thinking teens, maybe early 20s as well. Like if you have younger siblings and you're trying to tell them why certain things are this way. I do think they may come around. There's more hope for them than there is for people, you know, that are much older or your age and up. Because the Page of Wands, it's either a very immature mentality, or this could be immature people, like people who have not reached maturity yet. But regardless, I think it surprises you. Not only that, but I'm also seeing you as the Empress here, where it kind of falls onto you to educate the masses or to educate the people around you. Back of the deck is Temperance. Do understand that things will even out over time. Either things will become better or they will just fall off from your life in some way, which is so interesting. Yeah, I wasn't really if it is romantic, but I doubt it. Because let's face it, when you find a romantic partner who thinks this way, it's just easier to leave them, because we're not here to repair broken souls in partnerships. That feels just a little bit too, it parentifies you. And, you know, that's not really one, that's not fair. And two, it's not romantic. You know, it's anything but. You need somebody on your level. So take that only if it resonates. I do see that being a point of contention. So with that said, let's get into your career and finances. I'll tell you this, June's going to be an intense month for whatever reason. And for this pile in particular, it is making you reassess the people around you. All right, so career and finance, we have strength. You will be, okay, the good news is either you're going to make more money, and if you're not, you're going to learn how to budget in ways that are important. Maybe you get rid of certain bills, maybe you spend less on certain things, maybe, I feel like you're definitely getting your finances in order. If this is the workplace, same thing, but it has that layer of like doing better, you're getting better at your job somehow. We have, this is the Hermit reversed. And I feel like you're going to be either in the spotlight or you're not really going to feel like hiding away in the workplace. So this is a good thing. For some of you, this could mean that maybe you're asked to take on a more visible role, whatever that means, like a visible role. Not necessarily leadership, though that could be the case, but it's definitely more visible. We have Resplendence. This is the Ace of Swords. I love it. You're getting like a breath of fresh air in the workspace. Finance-wise, this means that you might have a new stream of income, or you could get like a new you could get like a small amount of money back to you somehow. Again, budgeting. When you budget, you find new ways of saving money. So if it's not a stream of income, it's just like you save, you know, $100 a month on something, which will go a long way. We have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, for a lot of you, you're saving money this month for whatever. This does come through more as finances than anything. You're definitely saving more money this month in some way, shape, or form. And then we have the Page of Cups reversed. This is you maturing. It's funny because I wanted to take it as being immature about something, but this would be like, for example, as you get older, you care less about like keeping up with trends. Therefore, you spend less money on new clothes. This happened to me. I think it was in my late 20s. I literally just bought like basic clothing. I didn't care if it was from a certain brand, and I didn't care if it's just, you know, clothes are clothes. And if I have like basic black tees, I'm just going to wear basic black tees, or socks, especially socks. This is always like a great tip because I know some people like to have, you know, funky colored socks, and that's fun. And I definitely was that person. But at some point I was just like, let me just buy like packs of basic black socks that are all the same, that all match. And not only did it help, not only were they less expensive than what I usually buy, but they were also all the same color. It was a color that was easy to keep up with. So if they got stained, it would be less noticeable because they're black as opposed to white. And, you know, just things like that. Same thing with like the basic black tees. And what else? Like investing in clothing that you know is going to last you a longer time. And even then, you don't have to spend that much on it. So that's one way of seeing it. Like your tastes are shifting because your budget is shifting, and you kind of need to shift with that. Another way of viewing this is like, maybe you're spending less on going out. Like maybe you don't feel the need to go out partying or drinking every weekend. So there's, you know, however much money you save on that. Even vacations. Sometimes sweet little boring vacations to places that don't cost much can be nice because you're still getting away. You're still getting room service if you get room service, you know, but you could be going somewhere where there's less people. Me personally, I like to go to wherever there's less people. Like I don't mind a tourist destination every now and then, but sometimes being away from people is even better. Yeah, I feel like your finances are shifting because your taste is shifting and you're spending less. Like when you go vegetarian and you're suddenly not spending on meat. So you save a lot of money there. I've been vegetarian for years, and I recently started getting into eating fish, and I'm surprised at how expensive even salmon is sometimes. I'm like, my goodness. But you know, or maybe you decide to start walking to places more as opposed to driving, and that saves you. Yeah. Definite dramatic shift in the workspace. You're being seen as somebody who is capable of, well, one, not just being a mature person. I don't know if you've been with this company for a long time where like they've seen you grow up, you know, like maybe they hired you as an intern and suddenly you're somebody who's like actually has an important role within the company. That could be the case. But regardless, there's something about keeping you in a space where you belong, or putting you in a space or a role where you make more sense. And maybe that's part of the reason they want to see you be more visible, or they might try to put you in something that they think would be a good fit. So if you get asked to be in a department or a position that you typically don't do, I would take it, because it's not only looking good on you, they're testing out the waters with you. Or honestly, I think it'd be great for you to test out these waters as well. So with that said, let's get, oh, I didn't see the back of the deck. We have resist stance. Ooh. Comparison will rob you of joy. Be happy for others. But don't feel you need to be like them. Yeah, I feel like you finally stop comparing yourself to others in the workspace as well. Maybe that was a big point of contention with you. Like maybe you felt you would never get to a position where somebody is. But remember, like everybody was once a beginner too. If you were to see like how your bosses or how your higher ups first started, I think it would surprise you to know that maybe they messed up a lot too. Because you don't learn anything without messing up here and there. Or maybe they had it worse than you. I mean, you never know. All right. So, final cards. My readings have been longer this month for some reason. Okay, you get... that's too many cards. I just want one for my pile. Okay, you keep getting 3. You're going to get 3 pile 2. Fine, maybe you like my longer readings. So we have... It is possible that life has more to give us than we could ever take for ourselves. Ooh. For a lot of you, I feel like you're not even seeing just how much the universe wants to give back to you this month, or how much it wants you to like open up to new chapters, open up to new energies, open up to new ways of viewing life, especially once you cut out a lot of the baggage that has been holding you back. I feel like there's something about being able to receive, because when we let go of something, that means we're opening up space for something new, or we're about to receive something new. And then we have, what's yours will always arrive on time. What is yours will always arrive on time. For a lot of you, there's something coming in June that I don't think you're aware that was meant to happen for you or be part of your life, which is really awesome. Also, this moon makes me think of the new moon, because notice how it's like very, very faint. And if you've ever seen a new moon on a clear night sky, you can see it. You can see the outline of the moon, but it's not going to be bright. And of course, like you can see where it is in the sky. It's just very, very faint, and it's very like almost non-existent. It's easy to ignore. And again, I'm thinking of that blue whale card that we got earlier, where something is so massive and we take it for granted, or we forget how much it impacts our lives. And I think that's what we're dealing with this month. And then we have listen. Ooh, listen. I just heard this. I used to listen to Evanescence way back when. They had I don't know if it's like a B-side song, but there was a song that they had, and it was by a choir. I think it was their school choir. But I think it's just called Listen, or Listen to the Rain. So you could be listening for messages, maybe literally in nature. You could be listening to new music, or listening to, I heard subliminals for some of you if you're into that, but also listen to what people have to say. I feel like you're going to be, unlike me, less talkative this month and more observant, more listening. All right, now we're going to get your runes. I'm going to get you 3 like I did for the first one. Okay, we have Fehu, which is, I love this. This is abundance. You're definitely coming into abundance this month, or at the very least working with the abundance that you already have that maybe you weren't aware that you had. We also have, is this algaes? Algaes. And this makes me think of like a fork in the road. This makes me think of pathways. One of the little booklets I have also associates it with friendship. Think of like a friendship trust circle. So you're definitely assessing your friendships, or at the very least your social circle, the people around you this month. And then we have the blank rune, which is it's like a blank slate. So for a lot of you, there are new chapters here. It's also about making life whatever you want it to be. This is like destiny. This is free will. So regardless of what was going on here, whatever you heard, remember that you have free will always. Very transformative month for you, pile 2. But this is where I leave it. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 3. If you chose the amethyst, then we have a reading here for you for the month of June. We're going to see what the month of June has in store for you. We're going to start with the oracles, which have been pre-selected. Then we're going to get into the tarot to see your general love relationships and your career and finance. So These piles have been pretty long, even though I literally pre-selected them just to save time for me. And ironically, it's been one of those readings. So Lightworker, we have 23. The transmutation of shadow is needed when seeking the light that guides you. The transmutation of shadow. So a lot of you are definitely transmuting shadow aspects of yourself or shadows in general this month. We also have, let's do this one. Scavenger hunt number 32. What you thought was hidden is hiding in plain sight. There's going to be something that is going to be much more obvious to you. Or it could be something that, you know, when something is so obvious, you think, oh, there's no way it could be that. But it is. That's what I'm getting. Like, I used to get this in school all the time. When I was a student in like high school and stuff, I would take a test and I would think the question would be so simple and so easy. And the answer would be so obvious. I would sit there and think, there's no way it can be that easy. And I would get it wrong because I would overthink something. So for a lot of you, you're either overlooking or overthinking something that's right in your face. And I feel like that, well, one, that could be a particular shadow cocoa that you're transmuting this month. Or two, something could be like very obvious and you're kind of not believing it because of how obvious it is. Like when, for example, this is a cute example, so take it if it resonates. Like when you have a crush on a person and they're like the most attractive person in the world and they're like, there's no way they can like me. They're way too hot. But they like you back and they're like, oh no, they're just being nice to me because they're a nice person. And of course I think they like me because look at them, I like them. It's just mirroring back what I'm doing. And it's like, no, they actually like you. And you're like, nah, they don't like me. You know, it's kind of that. Like that was just a cute example. Maybe for some of you that's also the case, but I'm kind of seeing that. We also have Fluel, number 19. Okay, you got the Little Mermaid card because, I mean, it's supposed to be from the Angels deck, but they made her look like a mermaid. This card specifically means cleansing, so cleansing out old energies to bring in new, which goes with this Lightworker card for sure. So we're definitely... I mean, literal cleaning could be a thing, which I think every pile so far has gotten something about cleaning. I don't know what's going on with the collective. I don't know if it's just my viewers. I guess it's time to clean something. I know I need to clean my space. I mean, we always do, but I guess a deep clean. And then the last two cards, we have Abundance, number 8. Ooh, love it. And then we have Nature. Okay, some of you could be spending more time in nature, and if it's nice and warm where you are in June, that would make sense. If it's cooling down, that could also make sense, depending on where you are in the world. Me personally, I go outside when it's cooler than when it's hotter, because where I live, it gets very hot in the summer. But regardless, there is something here about finding an abundance both in nature and in your own... whatever this is, it just feels like something is going to be very obvious this month, but you're not going to believe it. So you're kind of like in denial about something positive coming into your life, or you could be in denial about something that is just so good for you this month. Maybe you have a hard time receiving in general, or maybe you have a hard time believing that good things are meant for you. So we're definitely this is a good problem to have, I guess, but also... Pile 3, of course you deserve a bunch of good things. I feel like for a lot of you, you're kind of just doing your own thing and you have all these blessings around you and you're kind of, it's not that you don't care. It's more like you're just kind of afraid of accepting the blessings around you because you don't know how to receive, or you may feel a little sheepish receiving, you know, just like, think of like a little kid on Christmas or their birthday or something, and they're given like this big, beautiful gift that they've always wanted, that everyone knows they're going to like. And they're like, oh, that's nice. And they don't even play with it because it's like, it's not that they're not grateful. It's just like, oh, that's not for me. You know, they don't believe it's for them. I see this a lot with like kids from like impoverished families or kids who are just not used to receiving good, happy things. They're like, oh, that's not for me. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So it's both cute, but it's also kind of breaking my heart. It's like, how do you not believe that this is for you? You know, I love this energy because I feel like you've been very humble, either as of recently or maybe even your whole life, that you kind of forget that it's okay to receive the blessings that are meant for you. We have Fishing Cabin. Treasuring a homestead's tranquility. For some of you, you could be going somewhere really nice. maybe out in nature, or maybe you're just kind of finding peace. It's funny. I feel like for this pile, what you expect out of life is very simple. Like, I feel like extravagant things, you like them and I think you do enjoy them, but they're not things that you necessarily want or manifest. So when you're given something big and extravagant, you kind of don't know what to do with it. It's like, for example, being gifted a luxury vacation to, I don't know, a beach somewhere, like Fiji, Bora Bora, something like that. And you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. But the whole time you're just thinking, I wonder if I can go swimming there. Or you're thinking on simple little things, or like, I wonder what the food is like. You know, you're not thinking about the big luxurious things. You're thinking about simple, small things, which is very sweet. And I think this is why people really like you, or why people even like to cherish you and spoil you, because they know that you'll appreciate anything. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it's like, you know, when you ask your mom what they want for Mother's Day and they're like, I just want my kids to be happy. And it's like, cool, but we want to get you something nice. Don't you want like a handbag, like a designer handbag, or like a new kitchen or something? And no, it's very simple what they want. And I feel like a lot of you are very similar. Like what you treasure, you can't really put a price on. Things like peace, things like nature, you know, being out in nature, just spending time. Maybe you like camping. It's like a luxury vacation versus camping. You prefer camping, but you don't mind a luxury vacation. We have Skipper, seeing a seeker spirit. For a lot of you, this could be partially like a trauma response, because maybe when you were younger, maybe some of you grew up in wealth and realized that wealth really doesn't mean anything if the people who either have that wealth or give you that wealth are just kind of not great people to begin with. Because that's kind of what I'm seeing here with seeing a seeker spirit. You kind of question what people's intentions are behind everything, or even if they have intentions, which makes a lot of sense, because I've seen this in people who have a hard time receiving. Sometimes they have a hard time receiving in general because the people that used to give to them would expect a lot from them, or had ulterior motives, or would just be not so great people. But here you see through a lot. And I feel like what's coming in for you this month is being able to receive from people who do have good intentions or no intentions. Like they give without expecting anything from you. We have Coast Guard, accepting a responsible safeguard. Okay, so you are going to be receiving something here, but you're going to make sure that it's like legit. Not only that, but you're also going to make sure that it's something that like is good. I feel, okay, my beautiful pile 3, you're a little bit of an overthinker, and I love that. And I kind of like that. It's very endearing. I can see why people like you. They like that you're not just willing to accept anything. I think there are people in your life who really, they kind of like how your mind works or your mind thinks. And to them, it's very endearing. Like it both baffles and like, they just find it endearing. It's a charming quality that you have, that you overthink certain things. Or it may surprise them to think that you think a certain way, because maybe you don't look like someone who overthinks. Maybe you don't look like someone who's got their, you know, I feel like whoever this is, they just find it very endearing. And Salmon, contemplating a powerful animal's persistence. Okay, I'll be honest, for some of you, this, if it is romantic, this would make a lot of sense. This would be like when someone wants to take you on a date, but you don't believe that they want to take you on a date, and you're like, wait, what do you mean? You know, because you think they're too out of your league, or maybe they want to take you somewhere nice, and you're like, oh, that's nice, but can we just like go to grab a thing of coffee? I don't want to go somewhere super fancy. But it's so cute, because the energy I'm picking up from whomever this is that you're very, I mean, yes, humble, but also it's cute that you have a very, like you like simple things. And I think whoever this is, or whoever these people are, it could be more than one, they're not used to somebody who doesn't ask for a lot, or who doesn't want a lot. I mean, maybe that's not the right way of going about it, but maybe I feel like you do want a lot, but what you consider to be a lot and what they consider to be a lot is very different. So if we are to take the example of dating, this would be somebody who goes all out and they take their dates to like the fanciest places. They pick them up in a fancy car. They dress up super nice. But you're over here like, oh, I just want to chill and hang out at home. You know, I just want to do, you know, I want to go on a walk. You know, I just think you want very different things. But ironically, I think this huge contrast of what you want and what people want for you only makes them like you more. Not because you're quote, quote, low maintenance, and not because you're, standards are low, but because they kind of wonder, because I don't think you will come off as somebody who doesn't ask for a lot, who doesn't ask for very little. And it's not even that you're asking for the bare minimum. It's more like you just, you have a different way of viewing the world. And that's partially, of course, because I think a lot of you are very spiritually advanced. So you see through people, a lot, and it has nothing to do with even their finances or what they can offer you, and everything to do with the kind of person that they are and what you see in their heart, what you see in their soul. So yeah, a very interesting month for sure. So we're dealing with a lot of like the seen and the unseen, receiving and not receiving, and cleansing out spaces. I mean, every pile has had the cleansing out spaces. I don't know if that's just the universe trying to tell me that I need to do a deep cleaning of my home, which, I mean, I don't know. But anyway, pile 3. Let's get into your tarot. We're going to start with your general to see what's going on in the general. Then we're going to get into love and relationships because I'm curious as to why people are kind of wanting to give you a lot. This could even be the universe. Maybe the universe wants to like give you something that is going to transform your life immensely, and you're over here like, no, universe, I'm okay where I am. I don't want to I don't want to put my heart on the line. I don't want to yearn for something. I don't want anything crazy. Let me just live my life and be at peace, you know, which is fair, pile 3. Pile 3, we have 2 of Cups reversed. For a lot of you, this does have to do with like a relationship, a connection, a friendship, some sort of one-on-one connection that is going to be really important for your life. We also have the 4 of Wands. Is this meant to be reversed or upright? I think it's upright. So yeah, a friendship, possibly a love relationship if that's what you're looking for and if you're single. But Temperance. I almost thought this was the Empress, because look at how this woman looks just so divine and beautiful and on a pedestal. Maybe somebody is literally putting you on a pedestal and you don't know what to do about it. We have the 6 of Cups. This is sweet. So I'm getting the energy of like nostalgia, or like the things that you've been wanting since you were a child. It's possible this could be someone from the past, but I'm not really picking up on that energy as strongly. If anything, it's going to be more like this something or someone could remind you of circumstances or situations from the past. Maybe even people from the past. But this is not past energy coming back. You could be confronted with, again, similar scenarios from the past, but this is not a past person. So, and I'm glad, because I keep getting that in a lot of my readings. They're like, oh, a past person's coming back. And I'm like, no. I know there's people out there who do not want anything to do with anybody who fumbled them, or who they fumbled, or for whatever reason it just didn't work out. But the scenario itself will feel very familiar. And it also says, so we grew together. Okay, for some of you, if you're already in a relationship, or if this is somebody who's already in your life, this would mean that you have grown with this person. In terms of character, spiritually, internally, you've grown with this person. And the 5 of Cups. And I keep hearing like, you will take a chance on this. I feel like at some point you're going to recognize that this 2 of Cups that is standing up, like you're ignoring the fact that there is a possibility for good things to happen. And it's not always fair to ignore that there is the possibility of things to turn out for the better here with these people, this person, maybe an opportunity, maybe a situation as well. Because I do get the feeling that something will be presented to you. It could even be the coming back around of a particular opportunity. And you're just going to have a hard time dealing with it or making, it's not a decision. It's more like you're wary of it, whatever it is. You're definitely wary of it. And for good reason. You've had experience with whatever this is before, and maybe it didn't work out the first time. But this time around, the second time or the whatever time it is, I feel like it's very different. We have the Tower. It would also be very unexpected, whatever this is. And it says, down, down I come. Like whatever this is, it'll be happening. It just feels unexpected. Whatever this is, it feels unexpected. But not undeserved, if that makes any sense. So with that said, let's get into the relationship part. Because for a lot of you, this does have to do with a relationship or with other people. For others, this is probably more career-wise. And if neither of those, it could even be like, for example, homeownership. Maybe at some point, one of you, somebody here owned a home. And then you didn't because you couldn't keep up with it. But then you have an opportunity to have another home. And it's like, I don't know if I trust that. I don't know if I can afford that. I don't know how things could be different. So take that as it resonates. Pile 3. We have the Fool. There is someone new coming into your life for sure. Queen of Wands. They find you to be very attractive. They're very attracted to you. Even if this is more platonic or a friend, they just think you're like the most beautiful, coolest person ever. Also, there's a lot of excitement around whatever this is. We have the 9 of Cups. Oh, yeah. For a lot of you, this is definitely very romantic because the 9 of Cups is the wish fulfillment. So you could be getting a wish fulfillment in relationships or even friendships. If you've been looking for friends that kind of resonate with you, you could also be getting this. But there's this feeling that you finally call in something and you don't know what to do about it. The Devil, because yeah, you're looking for what this could you know when something just seems a little too good to be true, or when you hit it off with someone and you're like, okay, what's gonna go on here? You're looking for the devil in the details. You're looking to see, okay, is there an unhealed part of me that is calling in something and it just feels really good right now? Okay, pile 3, I love you, but I do feel like your traumas are coming up to kind of, and I understand why. You're just a little guarded. You're just a little bit too defensive, and that's fair. I feel like you've been hurt in the past and you don't want to have to repeat a whole nother healing cycle because you let somebody in that you should have noticed the red flags before. But I also feel like with this Devil energy here, that the Tower. I'm seeing 2 different scenarios. So give me a moment. And then the 6 of Swords. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't want something to come in to disrupt your peace and then to leave you. And that's fair. I feel like there could be a lot of healing to do around that, because there's also this feeling like even if somebody did come in to disrupt your peace, you know that you'll survive. You know that you'll pick yourself up again and just keep moving forward. Like, so someone comes in and tries to break your heart. That's hilarious because your heart is resilient. You've endured a lot of broken hearts before. You can endure another one, and it's almost like, okay, yeah, whatever, nice try. And that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario would be that somebody comes in at a time when you need them the most, or that somebody comes in at a time when, how do I say this? Yeah, 8 of Swords reversed. It's almost like they are there to demonstrate. Okay, that is a weird accent. They are there to demonstrate just how much you've overcome. I don't think whoever this is here to disrupt your peace, but I do feel like you fear that they will, especially if you still have any sort of like, specifically if you're attracted to men, I feel like you could have some sort of like a grudge against, I mean, the patriarchy, yes, I don't blame you for that, but like men in general, even when they don't deserve, even like, and I feel like this person will be understanding. But I do get the feeling that whoever this is, if they really meant to stay, they will stick around for some time and they'll give you the space that you need. But for a lot of you, I do feel like you're calling in someone who's really attracted to you. If you're looking for like a one-night stand or like a something casual, this would make a lot of sense, and I feel like you're not going to be as weirded out about it. But if you're looking for something more long-term, you could easily just overlook this person. But the good news is that if they're meant for you, they won't pass you by. If they're meant for you, they'll stay around until they prove that they're not toxic, essentially. This does feel romantic more than anything, by the way. But even if it's friends, same thing. I feel like if it was friends, there wouldn't be as much anxiety around it. But whatever this is, it's meant to be for your growth. It could even be an adventure, again, depending on what you're looking for. For some of you, this could be temporary, and maybe you wanted something temporary. Take that only if it resonates, because there are people out there who don't want commitment, and that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with acknowledging that commitment is not for everybody. But regardless, there is something here about opening up your heart to somebody or having them just prove themselves to you. If anything, I feel like you're going to be the one who is very guarded, and just you want to see where this person wants to take things, but you're very guarded about it. So that's what's coming through in relationships, and I feel like I'll leave it there because I don't get that it's going to progress past that in June. So, pile 3, career and finances. We have the Page of Pentacles, Queen of Swords. You're presenting really good ideas in the workspace. If you have a presentation of some sort, this will be a great month for it. We have the 10 of Cups. Reversed. We have the World reversed. And the Paragon, the King of Cups reversed. I knew the King of Cups was going to come out reversed. Why is that? Okay. So in the workspace, it's back to square one because there was an original idea, or you thought something was going to come to a conclusion this month. It's not, because somebody opened something back up and it turns out that not everything was done the right way. And this could be several things, because the Queen of Swords is like an auditor. It's like they come in and it's like, actually, we're not done with this yet because not everything has been completed. So you thought something would be finished with this month and it's not. So this may mean that you have to go back to square one, or that you have to go back and revise something. If it's a long-term project, you may have to be there a little bit longer. Or if it's something, for example, if you travel to a certain place a lot, you thought you would be there, that it would be your last time there. And no, it ends up that you have to go back and redo certain work because it wasn't recorded well, it wasn't done well. Regardless, for some of you, this month is kind of testing you in the workspace for sure. Because I think one possible outcome of this is that you're gonna wonder if you really do like your job or not, because depending on how much patience you have for whatever happened here on having to redo this work, it's going to show you just where you are in terms of how you feel about your career, your job, for some of you, it could be school, because I can easily see this in school where like you thought you were done with the project, but then it turns out they're changing the, whatever the standards were, like whatever the rules are. And it's like, oh, great, now I have to go back and do this. So it's definitely testing your patience. That's why the Page of Pentacles came through here. Because a lot of you are even on the fence about whatever this is. If you're in school, because I could easily see this with people who are like in grad school, or like if you're in a particular field that requires you to have like more than 4 years of education, you're wondering if you can put up with another 2, 3, 4, another, however long it's going to take. You're wondering if you can put up with more years of this. So I'm seeing that very strongly for a lot of you. Whatever this is, though, it is meant to be a sign of where you're meant to be in life. So some of you, you're going to be okay with it. Others of you, you're going to be questioning if this is the life path that you want. Back of the deck, we have Justice. Yeah, it was meant to show you how you feel about something in the workspace. And this feels more career than money for sure. Money-wise, it just means that you have to double check your finances. I did say audit. Maybe you have to audit your keeping track of like what you spend and where you spend it, especially when it comes to things like subscriptions. For example, I didn't know that I signed up for a subscription last month, and I had to look at my charges, and I was like, wait a minute. No one told me that I signed up for something. So yeah, stuff like that. Definitely check your statements, your bills, etc. So pile 3, let's get your final cards for this month. We're going to get some runes, and we're going to get some... I'm going to start with the runes for you. right, we have, this is the Tiwa's victory. So you are going to succeed in something. Sorry, Tewas. You're going to succeed in something. We have, ooh, I mispronounced. Okay, so there was a pile where I got Anzus, which is wisdom, instead of Fehu. Fehu is the wealth one. So you're definitely going to be abundant this month for sure. However, if you came from that pile where I got the wrong rune, if I read the wrong rune, you're still going to be abundant. Like, I think I was meant to miscommunicate that for a reason. And then we also have, this is Jera. Is it Jera? Yes, it just looks weird. Which is success. Okay, so a very successful month for a lot of you. Very abundant. You're going to be doing well. Like, I heard you're doing fine, sweetie. So like it's going to be a great month for a lot of you in terms of victory, success, and abundance. Even if it doesn't feel that way to a lot of people, I feel like you're going to be better off than most. You're going to be really good. You're going to be very lucky as well. So positive runes all around. But yeah, if you came from the pile where I accidentally called Anzus Fehu, same thing. I was meant to misread that. Not to give you false hope, but because with wisdom, I mean, wisdom is a form of wealth and abundance. And when you're wise, you can bring in abundance. All right, last card. We have every day do your best to be the reason that someone believes in the goodness of humanity. I love that. Yeah, there's a lot of goodness in this pile. Not that there weren't any, but there's like this feeling that you're doing your best to be a good person, that you're doing your best to bring positivity. And even on the days where you don't feel that you're the best, or when the only thing you can really focus on is where you've messed up or where you've been not so great, remember that you're still trying your hardest. Remember that that we're human. We mess up and then we get better. We live and we learn. So yeah, because I feel a little bit of guilt and shame in this one, but I mean, if you know you've done something wrong, then you can always do something to make it better. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it, pile 3. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 4. If you chose this moon agate, then we have your reading here for you about your month of June. We're going to see what the month of June has in store for you. Then we're going to get into your tarot to get your general love, relationship, and career and finance. So your oracles have been pre-selected, and the card you chose is the Mermaid, number 24. Let the allure of the mythical siren seduce your curiosity. Magic awaits. So definitely lots of curiosity for you this month. We also have Horse, 18. Unsure of how to break out of your cage. Spirit shares strength through acts of liberation. Ooh, love it. In fact, the Horse and the Mermaid give me similar energies where you're kind of in a very exploratory kind of energy, like you're up for discovering something new. You're definitely stepping into new energy. You could be a little bit wild and crazy this month. A lot of adventure for sure. We also have Fire, love it, number 20. And Galgaleo. So the dates 16th through the 24th of this month could be important because we have 16, 18, 20, 22 is missing, but then we have 24. So that week specifically could be important. For a lot of you, you're definitely in a very like fiery energy this month where you're wanting to explore, you're wanting to do things. Some of you could go on a vacation just because the need to seek out newness is very strong with you this month. If not, it could just be that you decide to try out a lot of new things. This kind of reminds me of like when I first signed up for a gym membership, and I wanted to go to like all the classes, and I wanted to go at different times of the day just to explore it. So you could either be exploring like one particular new thing, or you could be exploring new places, new things. If you're recently moved into a new area, this would explain a lot as well. I feel like you're seeking a lot of new things out. There's an adventurous spirit to you. I'm seeing a very specific person. I don't know who this is, but it's like a guy, and he looks like, I don't know, like mid-20s, curly blonde hair, but like only on the top, not on the sides, which is interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's somebody of importance here. Regardless, and it's weird that a guy came through because this energy feels very strongly like feminine, like Sagittarius girls, Aries girls is what it's giving. So yeah, I love this energy for you. And also this particular pile, you don't really mess around. You're straight and quick to the point, because on my other piles, I've been kind of like going on and on about whatever's going on here. But as to the other piles are very introspective. This one is more extrospective. You're like looking at stuff on the outside. I'm not saying that you're not going to be looking inwards, but you're more focused on what's going on around you. It's like you let curiosity take you where you need to go. Pile 4. Yeah, very different from the previous ones for sure. We have Mountain Climber, conquering a seeker's fear. Yeah, this is the energy that this pile gives me. Like whatever you're into, you're more likely to seek out that which freaks you out to overcome it rather than run away from it. Also, a lot of fiery and sun energy. Even though ironically you chose the mermaid, which is of course underwater, and there's even a moon here, your energy this month, if your default energy is like moon-like mermaid energy, watery mermaid energy, this month it's the opposite. You're fiery, you're looking for things to explore, you're going to be out in the sun more, you could be spending more time in nature as well, because there's a lot of mountains in these images. And this particular card even reminds me of the Chariot, because she's literally on a chariot. We have Angler, accepting a seeker's catch. And even the horse is a symbol of the Chariot in certain tarot decks. We have Lighthouse, trusting a homestead's direction. You know what this is? This is just straight up confidence. A lot of you are very strongly confident this month and standing in your confidence, which is really interesting. Because I feel like you're trusting yourself, or you're trusting a situation to work out, even against all odds. Even like in a Pollyanna kind of way, like a very stubbornly optimistic kind of way. I mean, some of you could be this way in general, but it's coming through extra strongly this month for you. And if you're typically not this way, I think it's going to surprise you that you are stepping into this energy. And Backpacker, decamping a tenacious hope. Interesting. So lots of accountability for you this month. Back of the deck is Cougar, facing an untamed expectation. Yeah, I feel like for a lot of you, you have like this untamed need for exploration, adventure. You could be somebody that you just need new things in your life, like every so often, to kickstart either like a journey, or maybe you just have this insatiable need to be exploring something, which I kind of get. This is usually like fire energy, so Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. But even if it's not, you're going to be stepping into that this month. I'm trying to figure out, I think, are any of the signs in a fire sign? Even if they're not, I feel like you're going to be seeking that out because of the lack of it in the astrology this month. Take that as it resonates. But for a lot of you, I do get the feeling that you're going to be, well, one, looking really good. This is going to be a great month to focus on working out if you want to. Specifically, either legs or abs, so running, swimming, core work like Pilates could be really important. Very active energy as well. A lot of you could take up like a new hobby or a new physical activity that's going to really help you out with that. But I don't think that a lot of you are, it's not going to be a boring month for you for sure. And not only that, but out of all the piles, this one has like the least amount of like emotional, mental, or psychic stuff going on. You're more focused on the 3D. And maybe for good reason. Maybe for a lot of you, you've been spending too much time in your head or in your emotions, so you're just ready to release it all physically. In fact, if we were to see like all the piles as a progression of what's going on with someone's growth, it's like one's focusing on the deep depths of their psyche, and one person is focusing more on like the physical aspects. It's kind of interesting. So if you felt called to another pile, or if you know for sure this isn't you, if you know you're not active, that's not your thing, then you can go to any other pile. But regardless, there's like a confidence about you. There's this, you're going to be in the spotlight. It's going to be hard for people to ignore you for sure, because there's something just really, that really stands out about you. Like you're hard to ignore. So for my pile 4, let's go ahead and get into your tarot. That one was very to the point. Oh, I do want to read from the book for Galaglio. Galgalio. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. So for pile 4, Your power comes from God and is the essence of love. Do not be afraid to use your power for good. Claim back your sovereignty and give yourself permission to follow your inner guidance. Take control of the steering wheel of your life. Choose your direction. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I've been getting from all these cards is the horse energy, the fire energy. You're taking back control of your life. You're heading in a direction that you want to. It's like you're not letting destiny call the shots anymore. You're working with destiny to create your own. And as I said that, I just heard, what's her name? Merida from Brave. What does she say? If you could write your own destiny, or if you had a chance to write your fate or something. Something about your fate. Something about your fate. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But I'm kind of getting that strong, independent energy for this pile. So let's get into your tarot to see the general. And it's ironic that you had so much sun imagery when you literally chose the moon. So if you chose the moon because you like the moon, don't be surprised if you end up appreciating the sun more. Not that you're hating on the moon. It's just like maybe you're appreciating just being outside during the day as opposed to the night. If you live somewhere where there's like 24 hours of sunlight, that would make a lot of sense. Like I'm thinking of the countries up near the North Pole. So I know Alaska is one of them. That's not a country, it's a place. But, you know, Alaska is one of those places. I'm sure places in Russia are, as is Iceland, which I will either be there when I'm releasing this or will have come back from there. And other parts of the world, I don't know. So, pile 4, we have Page of Swords. Communication is something you're just not really doing this month. It's not that you're ignoring people, or even if you are, you're just kind of doing your own thing. It's like you will get back to them when you have the energy, time, or the will, I just heard the will to do so. I don't know. I feel like you're just kind of done with talking to people. You could go into a little bit of a hermit mode. Yeah, 9 of Swords. I just heard Rosalia's Despecha. And it makes me think of, it's that song about how you're just healing from heartbreak, or you're just doing your own thing. You're having fun. Maybe for some of you, part of the reason you're in this energy of like more sun than moon is because you're wanting to shift out of some sort of feeling that you've been trying to overcome or to heal from, which is funny because I just said that this, out of all the piles, this is the one that's more in the 3D, but we can't escape the 5D. We can't escape our feelings, emotions, and the spiritual space. You're aware of this, pile 4. That's why you're here. That's why that's why you're into things like tarot. We have the Magician reversed. Okay, so I do feel for a lot of you, you're either hiding something or you're just like either healing from something. It's not so much that you're in denial of something here. I mean, you could be, but it's not denial. It's more like you will face that feeling when you have the moment. You will deal with that when you get a chance to. Some of you could literally just be busy and not have the time for that. So when you do find the time to lay low and to chill out and to focus on you, it's like that's when you will deal with the things that are going on around you. Because the 9 of Swords does let me know that there are things, this could be anxious energy releasing itself physically. So some of you could be a little bit anxious about something in your life, but you don't want to talk about it. And I think that's fair. Like when you have the time, when you are ready for it, you will. But right now, the Magician is reversed. You're not even able to manifest the proper energy, space, emotions. You're manifesting emotions, but you know what I mean. You're not able to manifest the proper amount of healing for those emotions. A Chariot reversed, which is ironic because I did say that the Oracle reminded me of the Chariot in the beginning. But here it's reversed, and then we have 5 of Wands. Okay, so I'm getting the energy. A lot of you, you're focusing on everything else, because if you were to face something like either a particular situation or or some sort of issue, I feel like you have stronger feelings for it than you recognize or that you're willing to acknowledge. I'm not sure what this is. It could be like an issue somebody brings up with you. It could be something, there's something going on in your life that you feel either more strongly about than you realize or that people realize, but you don't want to deal with it right at that moment. It could even be put off for the majority of June. However, it's like you will get back to that situation when you get a chance. So let's say there's a particular issue in your life and either you don't have the time for it or you don't have the time to properly what's the word? Process it or think about it. And I feel like right now, I mean, it could be seen as either or. Either you're procrastinating it or you're just waiting for the right moment to bring this up, because the Chariot reverse and the Magician reverse do let me know that at some point things will break down so that you can focus on them. So for example, let's say you're traveling a lot or you're working a lot or whatever the situation is. It's like you're go, go, go. Every day there's something to do. You will get a moment, a time, a space where things are just kind of forcing you to stop so that you can focus on it, whether that's like a travel delay, whether that's a day off, whether that's, sometimes this can even manifest as somebody getting sick so that they're in bed all day and while they're in bed they think about things, you know, things like that. I'm not wishing that on anybody here, of course. I'm not wishing that on you, pile 4, but I do see like a delay happening for you this month so that you can focus on something that you've either have not had the time for or that you've been running away from. Because the 5 of Wands lets me know that if people were to bring this up to you, it would just not end well, or you would be in a very argumentative kind of energy. And that's mainly because you haven't processed whatever this is yet. It's like you haven't had the time to think about it. So let's use this as an example. Let's say a friend brings up an issue with you. Maybe it's an ongoing issue, maybe it's a new issue, and it's an issue that you've never had to deal with before. Regardless, it's kind of like you're putting things on hold, or you're putting that particular issue on hold so you can focus on everything else. However, I do think at some point you will have to think about this, and this is more a warning than anything to make sure that you are dedicating some time to it, because whatever this is, if somebody had the courage, the chance, the opportunity, spent some time out of their day to bring this up to you, then clearly it matters to them. So how you handle it can be important. Not only that, but remember, there are people out there who don't share anything with anybody. So the fact that they even had I keep hearing the courage, because you do inspire courage in other people, ironically enough, or maybe not so ironically. You do inspire courage in other people. So maybe to you, it's not that big a deal, but to other people, it could be a big deal. Maybe you're aware of this and maybe this is why you're wanting to take the time to think about this. But I am getting that kind of situation popping up for you in June. Back of the deck, we have the 10 of Pentacles. This could have something to do with a career. This could have something to do with a long-standing friendship, connection, bond. It could be family, it could be friends. I am seeing more platonic, whatever this is. If it's romantic, that would make a lot more sense. But I feel like you would get to that as well. But I'm not really getting that for the majority of you. This has to do with anything romantic, actually. Knight of Wands is reversed. 7 of Wands. 3 of Wands. Yeah, I'm just seeing you stalling. However, do be careful with that, because yes, you can take the time to respond. You can take the time to think about it. I do think there's like a good window between taking too long to respond and then not taking enough time to think about something. I say this because I'm usually on the other end where I respond too quickly as opposed to taking my time. But then I've also been friends with people or have known people who take far too long to respond. I guess it all depends on which end of the spectrum you're on. You have to find that nice in-between space where things have been thought out in a positive way. In a I almost said foolproof way. But yeah, for a lot of you, I feel like you have to address something here. Or maybe if somebody doesn't bring this up to you, it could be you knowing that you need to bring this up to somebody else. So pile 4, let's get your love and relationships. This doesn't have to be necessarily romantic. It could also be friends. For my pile 4. Star reversed. 9 of Cups reversed. 5 of Pentacles upright. There's a situation here that's kind of basically you've lost all hope for. I don't know if this is a friendship or a romance. If it is romance, that would make a lot of sense because I'm not really getting romantic energy here. And like I said, I did mention Rosalia's Despecha, which is a song about heartbreak, specifically from relationships. This would be like when you decide to have a getaway for yourself or with your friends so that you can forget about the person that's breaking your heart. Or you're just focused on work so you don't have to think about your breaking heart. Or even just, yeah, King of Swords. Oh, okay. The communication is opening back up, for better or worse. Somebody here is forcing it. It could be you, it could be the other person. But the King of Swords is somebody who's just ready to have like negotiations. Is somebody who's ready to have that conversation. Not only that, but decisions will be made. So I'm not sure who you identify more with here. You could be the King of Swords. They could be the King of Swords. This will happen more during Gemini season, and the World came up. Okay, so something is finally coming to an end or closure or conclusion, especially about something that you had no hope for, or something that maybe you even manifested this, because the Nine of Cups is a manifestation card for me. Specifically, like your hopes and wishes and dreams that you manifest and bring into life. But reverse, it's like either you wished for this at some point, or at some point it was a manifestation and now it no longer... like it just no longer resonates with you, or maybe just things didn't turn out the way that you planned. And the Five of Pentacles is even like, this was eating away at your confidence, or it made you feel like just, there's like a lack. The Five of Pentacles is lack. Specifically eating away at something of value, or not acknowledging something's value. And here it feels more like it was eating away at this. So I feel like whatever this is, it's finally coming to an end. If you don't currently have a situation like this now, it could be something from the past coming back for you to gain closure on it. Back of the deck is the Empress. And not only that, but you'll be stepping into your Empress energy again. Four of Wands, Page of Wands. I like it. Page of Swords again, actually. And the Sun. And it's like, this is you gaining your confidence back after a difficult episode with somebody or with a situation. This does feel like other people are involved. So let's say, for example, for those of you who have gone through a breakup, let's say that you were like on the verge of breaking up, or you took a break. So you decided to focus on everything else, going to the gym, traveling, going on vacation, hanging out with your friends. It's just like you're focusing on everything else and you don't want to have to think about this person. But at some point, like it's going to have to be addressed, essentially. That's kind of the situation I'm picking up on. And it's like you're finally going to get a decision on this. Either you make things work out, or you just put this at an end. For a majority of you, this does feel like an end to something, because something was not right. The Five of Pentacles only shows up when there's an issue, or when there's a lack, or when somebody's confidence, freedom, etc. has been eaten away at. Because for whatever reason, I see the Five of Pentacles as like a solar plexus issue. Because this is where we build up our confidence. It's also where we nourish ourselves, and a Five of Pentacles is like a lack of nourishment. So whatever this is, it's the end to this. For those of you who have not been, I don't know if there's people out here who, like, whenever you're not feeling well, you just don't eat, like you lose your appetite, or you can only eat so much and then you just don't feel like eating. If you have Sun in the second house, apparently that's a very common thing, because that's what I do. That's what I have, and it's true. My eating habits are affected by how good I feel about myself for whatever reason. Not saying that it's good or bad, it's just what happens. But it's kind of like you'll know you're better when you can finally eat normal again. When you're not, either binge eating or the opposite, just no appetite. But this does feel like for a lot of you, it's been eating away at your confidence. So the good news is that it's finally coming to a conclusion here, or you will get closure of some kind. All right, so that's what we have for love and relationships. This does feel more romantic than anything. If it is friendships, I guess you could also take that, but I'm not feeling it as strongly. So pile for your career and finance. We have the Patron Phantasma. Ooh, we have the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Is there a Mercury retrograde this month? I should have checked, because this isn't the first pile, but there's another pile that had a similar feeling where things are kind of glitching out, specifically in the workspace. We also have the Seven of Cups, lots of options. For those of you who are looking for a job right now, you do have more options that will present themselves, and you will know because either people approach you about this, like they may ask you if you want to work somewhere, or they may say, hey, have you thought about applying here? Things like that. Or your looks could get you further ahead than you realize. So don't be afraid of that pretty privilege if you have it. I don't want to hear that you don't have pretty privilege, because that's not true. Everybody has some sort of physical privilege, whether they're aware of it or not. You'd be surprised at how much I see that in certain workspaces. We also have the Lovers reverse. Back of the deck is the Sun. So for a lot of you, I feel like whatever's been going on in terms of your relationships could have been affecting either your work performance or your ability to find a career. And it's not, I mean, this actually does happen. I've seen it where if either you get a job and you lose a partner because that partner doesn't want you having that job, but like when it comes to you making a living for yourself versus somebody else deciding they don't want you to do something, what are you going to choose? Exactly, the thing where you nourish yourself and take care of yourself. And I've also seen it the other way around, where sometimes having certain partners prevent us from having jobs, or certain jobs prevent us from having partners. In this case, I do feel more that it's the people around you who have been preventing you from getting a job. Because that's happened to me. Like, I took on a job when I was making more than certain partners, and I think it surprised them because the job that I had to them didn't feel like a prestigious actual career and whatever, but I was making more money than them regardless. So, either they fell away or I had to leave them behind because I couldn't be supporting them when they were making the bare minimum. Things like that. So I do feel like your career and or your finances are being affected by your relationships. And it's funny because, maybe it's not so funny, but in the oracles, I was getting a very strong independent energy, but then we look into the tarot and it turns out that you are being affected by the people around you, specifically either relationships or friendships or things that have been holding you back. So yeah, when it comes to finding a job, don't be surprised that as soon as you dump someone, you get a new job or a job that is better suited to you. I've read this in people's energies where, especially guys, and I think it's interesting for them because they're not as likely, straight guys, they're not as likely to believe in a lot of the tarot energy things. But ironically, when I read their energy, it's like, well, of course you're not going to get that high paying job. You were with a girl who was spending all your money because you sought a very shallow relationship. The universe will not reward you with something like a good paying job when you have somebody who's literally draining you. Or the opposite, same thing with, I see this with women. They get high paying jobs and then they have like a bum boyfriend or a bum husband or whatever. And it's like, as soon as they drop them, they become even more wealthy as opposed to somebody who's siphoning their money. Take whichever resonates, but I do see this. I just always think it's more interesting when I see it in people who don't believe in this. I'm getting that. For a lot of you, try out for something again now that you've released something, because the energy in you is going to be very different. Not only that, but your availability is also going to change. In terms of finances, you have more options in terms of finances, whether that's readjusting your subscriptions, readjusting like all the things around you. I feel like you have more control over your bills than you realize. So do be wary of that, or do heed control. Look at your bill statements and bank statements. I think it would surprise you to see that certain things may be going up in price and maybe no one's told you, or certain subscriptions are still being charged when you no longer subscribe to them, which is really interesting. I say that because that's happened to me a few times, but this is what I have for you, pile 4. Let's go ahead and get your last cards for the month of June. I'll just leave that there. Let's get the 3 oracles. Sorry, the three oracles, the 3 runes. All right, we have, this is Gebo, which is usually an exchange of some sort. It could be a gift. It could be, I'm hearing exchange of energy, or return to sender kind of energy as well. When people come together or when they separate, like they exchange certain things or they give each other's things back. I'm kind of getting that. So yeah, be careful who you're exchanging energy with this month. We also have Raido, which is a journey. I do feel like a lot of you are traveling somehow. You're either traveling to a new place, a new situation. Some of you could literally just be going somewhere to get to let loose and break free. And then we have Kanas, which is a good luck. So you're going to be very lucky this month. You're just not going to feel lucky until you start seeing all the things pop up for you. Like I mentioned, for a lot of you, I hate talking about breakups, but if you know that's already in your energy, if you already know that's something here for you, you'd be surprised at how many positive things come up for you when you release somebody who was not good for you, or who you thought maybe things would last with them or things would be good with them, but then you release them or you step out of that energy and like the universe is showing you all the positive things around you, like by offering you new opportunities, new trips, more time, your youth. You know, some people, they gain back their youth, or maybe just like things will be better for you this month, pile 4, I promise you. But this is where I leave it. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. Oh, wait. No, not yet, not yet. One more card. Last thing, pile 4. Maybe for some of you, you had a hard time releasing this because as soon as you thought it was over, here they came back with some other thing. Listen. Ooh, listen to what people have to say, which is interesting. Maybe some of you don't want to listen. Maybe some of you have had a hard time listening to people or things or situations. Maybe even this reading. And if so, then I thank you so much for your patience, for being able to hear some of the things that I've had to say, because I can tell that some of it is kind of difficult and some of it could be maybe even slightly, hard to listen to, hard to understand. But this is where I leave it. I am sending you so much love, pile 4. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care.